Hey guys, it's Lydia here. So for today's video, I am really excited. What we are going to do, we're going to be doing another stretching routine, and this one is going to be a 30-minute deep stretch. So a little while ago, a couple of months ago, I posted a deep stretching routine on your hamstrings and your back, and you seem to like that a lot. So I thought I would do another one, this time be full body and make it a little bit longer. Tell me in the comments below after you've done this stretching routine if you'd like to see more deep stretching routines for different lengths, like a 10-minute one or whatever. But without further ado, let's dive in. We're going to start with just some 3 neck rolls. Just go nice and slow, 3 each way. Alrighty, and then go the other way. Next we're just going to do 5 shoulder rolls, again each way. This is really nice to just kind of warm up the shoulders, get them all rolled out. Right now go forward. Alright, next we're going to do some arm swings like this. These are more just moves to kind of warm up your body before really stretching it. So then next we're going to put your arm up here and grab your elbow, try to pull it over, really getting a good stretch in the back of your arm. It's called your tricep. Alrighty, switch arms. Stretch is a bit difficult. You can always grab your hand instead. Alrighty, next we're going to pull one arm across your body, really feel a good stretch in that shoulder. Alrighty, other side. Our first deep stretch, and it's going to be a forward fold. So in this, I just recommend taking your legs as wide as you need to. So if it's all the way out here, just so you can touch the ground easily, do that, because we're going to hold it for a while, so you can always bring your legs in closer. I'm going to start with my legs together just because I've gotten flexible enough, or this is kind of the only way I feel a stretch, but you can go as wide as you need to be. We're just going to hold this for a full minute. So in this, you can always pedal out your legs. If your legs are wider, you can kind of rock your hips from side to side, kind of open them up. Now do whatever you need to do, or you can just hold it. and then clasp your hands behind you. And then you're going to straighten them out and feel a really good stretch in your shoulders. You can also straighten out your legs in this. I just prefer to keep them bent since my hands aren't on the ground to catch me or anything. So keep them bent and mostly focus on the stretch in your shoulders for this one. Out of that, and we're going to go to the ground. Alrighty, so come down to the ground and you're going to bring your feet together for a butterfly stretch. So I'm going to do a few different variations of a butterfly. We're going to start off by just pushing your legs closer to the ground. So you can either do this with your elbows or with your hands. And you want to be gentle with this, so you don't have to push a lot, push really hard. Just push till you feel a light stretch. And then you're going to reach over your legs. Now in this, I'm going to scooch to the side so you can see me better. In this, there's two different ways you can do this. Either you can have a really flat back or you can curve your back. I'm just going to let that be up to you. You can decide which one you want better. You can do like 30 seconds with more of a curved back, 30 seconds straight. Just whatever you want to do. Gently come out of that. Close your knees. Alrighty, next you're going to come into a straddle. And then in this, we're going to start by just reaching forward like this. So you can, even if you're like not completely, just the point is just to reach forward. So even if your legs are closer in, even if they're like this and you feel a stretch, that's completely fine. And then you don't have to go super low in this. You can stay up here and just feel a nice stretch. Come down to your elbows, however deep you want it to be. And like every day is different. Some days I'm really flexible in these different poses, and other days it's really hard. You mainly should be feeling this in like your inner thighs. So nice deep stretch. Alright, so come out of that, and then you're going to shift your hips so that you're facing one of your legs and reach over top of your leg. You should get a really good stretch in the back of your knee, even up the back of your thigh. And if you want to, if you can grab your feet, you can flex it and get a really good stretch towards your calf as well. Go to the other side, shift your hips so that you're facing your leg, reach over top of it. So come back to center, and then we're going to do a side stretch. So reach over your head and try and reach for your ankle or your foot. Even if you can't reach, even if you're up here, just feel a really good stretch in the side of your body. Come up. We're going to do the same thing on the other side. Reach over. If you keep your gaze towards the ceiling, it will give you a deeper stretch instead of like falling in towards your leg. You're really pushing so that you're facing the front. Alrighty, come out of that stretch. Next, we're going to go into a nice little pigeon pose, like so. So this leg in the front can be, the foot can be as close as you need it to be to you. So if it's right here, it's going to be a little bit easier. If it's out here, it's going to be a deeper stretch. So however you want to do it. And we're just going to hold this for a minute. So I like to be on my elbows or like on the ground just because I like a really nice deep stretch. But if you're up here and you feel a stretch, you can just stay there. So come out of that stretch. We're going to do the same thing on the other leg, starting with just basic pigeon pose. Our hands and knees, and we're going to do cat-cow 5 times. So you're going to arch back and then contract. come up into a lunge like this. And if you're a beginner, you can have your hand on the ground to kind of support you, or you can lift off and have your hands on your knees. We're going to hold this here again for a minute, and I really want you to just push this hip towards the ground and really feel a good stretch in the front, in your hip flexor. This is one of the best hip stretches for the splits, FYI. So if you're trying to get your splits, this is a really good one to open up those hips, so that way you can sink down into the splits better. This is also just really good if you sit a lot, or if you've done a really hard leg workout or ab workout. A lot of times your hip flexors can get really, really tight. So just opening them up feels so, so good. Kind of contracting them in a different direction than they normally just sit. So for this next one, you're going to have your hands on the ground, and basically you're just going to let your foot kind of open up so it goes to the side, and let your knee kind of go out, and you're going to feel a really good stretch in this hip. And we're going to go into a really good hamstring stretch. So either you can have your foot flexed, or if that's a little bit much, just have it straight. And your goal is to kind of keep a flat back. So even if you're up here and you feel a stretch, that's okay, but don't try and round your back. That's not what we're going for. We're going for a nice flat back so that your chest is leading towards your leg. Into that lunge, and then grab your back foot. Feel a really good stretch in that back thigh. So for the next stretch, I'm going to go into the splits. So either you can try to do the splits, or if you're just not comfortable with that, you can go back into that hamstring stretch that we did. But even if you're like up here and holding it, that's fine. Just go down as low as you can. And we're going to hold it here for a minute. You really get a good chance to stretch out those muscles. You can even go over your front leg. Get a nice hamstring stretch that way. take nice deep breaths. Alrighty, so come out of that stretch, and then we're going to do all those stretches on the other leg, starting with that lunge. So push into that lunge, get a good stretch in the back hip flexor. Remember, you can always have a hand on the ground, especially if you're more of a beginner or you're less flexible. It's kind of nice to support yourself that way. But having your hands on your knees is going to get a really deep stretch because you're kind of forcing your hips to kind of move forward. And really try and relax your muscles, because if you tense up, you're not going to get a good stretch. So if you really relax, just take nice deep breaths, and every time you exhale, just push your hips forward more and get a really good stretch. That's how you're going to get more flexible. Onto the side of your foot and go onto your elbows. Get a really good stretch kind of in your hip. Hamstring stretch. Go as deep as you can while keeping a nice flat back. Pull in your back leg. Either you can go down to the splits or try to do the splits as far as you can, or just do that hamstring stretch if you're not as comfortable. To go into a seal stretch. So extend your legs out behind you, lay down on your stomach, and then just really push back and arch back as far as you can, feeling a nice good stretch, you know, in your low back, a little bit in your abs, especially if they're sore. This is such a good stretch to do after an ab workout because it really does just stretch out those abs. And so we're going to hold this for a minute, but if you at any point feel like it's not really very comfortable, or like it's starting to hurt, and like hurt as in like it's not a stretch anymore, it's actually painful, you can quickly come out of it and go into a child's pose, and then if you want to go back in. And if you're a beginner, you can always do this from your elbows, like this. Alrighty, and we're going to push back into a child's pose. Sit down and we're going to do a little twist. So this one we're not going to hold as long, but it's still like a really good stretch just to twist your back. So you're just going to cross one leg over the other and then kind of have your elbow in towards your knee and just give a nice good twist for your back. Look over your shoulder. Do a camel. This is not my favorite stretch, but we can do it. You're going to come onto your knees, and you can either have your toes up so that way you can grab your ankles a little bit easier, or have your feet just flat on the ground so that way you have to go a little bit farther. I really like the first option if you're a little bit tight in your back, need a little more support, because it's really easy to just grab your ankles, or go into the full camel. Gently come out of that stretch, and we're going to go into another child's pose. Alrighty, so then flip over and go onto your back. And then we're going to do a lying leg hold. So pull your legs straight towards you and feel a really good stretch down the back of your leg. Closer. Really try and relax your muscles, like I said. Alrighty, cross your leg over the other and go into a figure four. Pull both legs towards you. Get a really good stretch again in that hip. other leg. Or straighten out that leg, pull it towards you. Stretch, just go into that figure 4. And that is it for today's stretching routine, guys. I hope you enjoyed it. I really loved this nice deep stretch, so I hope you did too. Again, if you enjoyed it, give it a thumbs up. Tell me in the comments below. Don't forget to subscribe, and I will see you next time for another workout. Bye, guys.